Starting? Starting recording. Hello, everybody, and welcome to yet another episode of Witches and Wine. This is the show where we talk about witchy stuff and we drink wine. Clink and drink. Clink and drink. Clink and drink. I'm your hostess with the mostest, Lola Stardust. And before we get started, I'd like to do a little disclaimer. This show is called Witches and Wine, meaning we drink wine. Oh, I hope they didn't freeze. They might have froze, but let's just keep going and see. So, what happens when we drink wine is sometimes we get a little talky and chatty, and some people don't like watching witches drink wine. I can't imagine why, but if you're one of those people, we have a suggestion. There's an X in the corner of the screen. Just click on that X.
Click the X.
Click the X, and you don't have to watch us. All right, so before we get started with our wonderful guest, I'm going to turn this over to my husband, my partner in crime, my high priest, Silent as Stardust. Why don't you tell us about the wine?
Thank you, honey. I'd be happy to. Tonight, guys, I chose a really robust estate cab out of Chile. That's from the Maipo Valley. It's known as Cabernario No. 8. A really, really robust Cabernet, really dark in color, full-bodied, a lot of blackberry, cassis, tons of tannins, so definitely chewy.
Chewy.
94 points rated. Definitely a dinner-style wine if you have trouble with big tannic wines. Absolutely delicious, and only going to run you about $20, so great value. So I'm going to go ahead and send it back to you, and we can bring our guest in. And
yeah. All right, so we have a wonderful guest. I've been looking forward to this. I got the pleasure of actually talking to her on a radio show that I'm producing for Belladonna Laveau. She was on the show on thecauldron.net. I was like, I love her. I want her on our show. The wonderful S.J. Tucker and her awesome husband, Ryan. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Here we are, together through the airwaves and the wires. Thank you to the spirits and the wires.
Yes. We were having technical difficulties, so we moved to another platform, and so far so good. I think Hermes is with us and wanting this to happen. So, SJ, you are such a wonderful performer, and you're very visual too, because you put together such a great package, the way you look and your storytelling as you play your guitar. How has this pandemic been treating you with your performing? What have you been doing?
Well, the last thing, that's a beautiful question, by the way, Lola. Thank you. It's very caring. The last thing that any musician wants to admit to doing, I think, at least in my little ragtag corner of our little ragtag witchy music scene, is admit that they're actually learning how to help run a music venue. But I am doing the online version of that. I am working with my dear friends and tour mates up in Canada, Ben Deschamps and Heather Dale, and their tiny team that they have put together of web coders and tech help and interns and assistants and folks, to run an online concert platform that is called Online Concert Thing. And the name of it actually came from a joke that Ryan told, where he said, tell Ben he should just call it the Streaming Online Concert Thing. And Ben took him up on that. So it's onlineconcertthing.com, and we launched it. We did a soft launch last October, because the previous platform that a lot of us had used to stream our shows was called Concert Window, and they closed down the month before that. They closed down in September 2019, and I bet they're kicking themselves now, labels and gentle beings, that they did that, because there are no concerts except for online concerts, at least those of us that are trying to be safe and not bring the germs to our people, because we don't want them to die. That's how we're running things. So that's where I've been having my concerts streaming for the most part since last October, and golly, has that been a lifeline in the year of the quarantine tour, which is nobody gets to tour, nobody gets to do live shows, And if you are doing live shows, I don't want to hear about it because it's just going to make me mad. And it's going to make me call you lots of names and say that you're irresponsible and use my mom voice because I'm a mom now.
Yeah.
So I have that superpower. That achievement has been unlocked. Don't make me use it. I'm not the one drinking wine. Can you tell? I'm way too serious right now. I asked Ryan to come and be part of the show. I cleared this with Lola as well because I said, well, if Ryan's not there with me, then no one's going to be drinking wine. So and his response to that was to say, she's the witch, I drink the wine.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's what
Witches and wine. Yes.
It's one of the ways that we harm.
However it works, we're happy to make it work.
What kind of wine are you drinking, Ryan?
The Boda Box Merlot.
There you
I
are.
find it surprisingly good for the price point, and it travels well, so it works
Yes, it
out
does.
very well as for traveling musician style.
We know the box.
And,
We don't poo on them.
We don't poo-poo on the box wines.
No, we've taken to calling them card Bordeaux.
Yeah, we call them Card Bordeaux wine. So
Card Bordeaux, very nice.
yes, Card Bordeaux. Well,
That's a
Clink
juice
drinks-
box is what this is.
Clink drinks the box wine. Oh,
Clink.
so
I gotta go get my water. I can't.
hey, Clink and drink your water. We've got our water too because it's 100 degrees over here. So
I'm here to tell you.
there she goes.
I
So
don't even look at the
I
heat
just
index
happen to
right
have
now. We
a
are
problem.
northwest, just a bit northwest of central Arkansas, and 88 to 100% humidity is de rigueur this time of year. It's just, it's fortunately we grew up this way, so we have some tolerance. That doesn't mean that I spent my entire afternoon outside. No, ma'am. No, ma'am. This is why the goddess gave us air conditioning.
yes, and fans and yes.
Gross.
We live kind of where we live in Washington State is more deserty kind of, so it's very dry. And I don't care. Hot is hot.
I grew up in Seattle where 80 degrees is sweltering heat. So this 100 degrees shit doesn't work for me.
No.
And I have been through many a Washington State summer.
Yes.
I feel I know exactly what you described, and I will say that one of the hard symptoms, that's a loaded word right now, one of the hard symptoms of this pandemic for me, staying 100% well thus far, touch wood, is missing the hell out of the Northwest coast. There are places on that coast that I'd rather be than any other beach on the planet right now, and I haven't been there in a very, very long time. For me, the nomad who cannot go anywhere right now.
Oh yeah, that's
wacky.
What are you doing to keep your sanity besides playing music? Walk us through a day in the life of Suge during the quarantine.
Well, I will spare you the diaper changes. We won't talk about how many of those there are. Our little son is 21 months old now, and he is galloping toward age 2. He's going to turn 2 in October. He's our little Scorpio. So he brings a lot more joy than we might have otherwise.
Yeah.
He is the reason that we have a schedule at all right now, apart from promised things and deadlines and keeping up with my Patreon schedule and my subscriber schedule, which, by the way, those folks make my world go round. They have kept our lights on. They have kept me from worrying about it. They love me a lot more than the government does as far as the cute little stimulus package goes. They're giving me more than that per month. Thank y'all.
That's wonderful.
Jesse is the reason. Jesse's our little boy. He is the reason that we have any kind of routine at all right now during quarantine. And he is a lot of the reason for a lot of the laughter that we wouldn't have without him. So he tends to get up and say either Daddy, Mama, hi Mama, between 6:30 and 7:30 a.m. and we're in Central Time Zone here.
Yeah.
And depending on which one of us stumbles out first, we get him situated. We go and have breakfast. I generally will eat breakfast with him, and he's crazy about oatmeal with peanut butter in it right now.
Oh.
That's sort of our thing. Mama has tea. He has peanut butter oatmeal and his sippy cup of water. And then we decide what we're going to do with our day. And he almost always will hop out of the high chair and say, outside.
Yep.
Outside. So we head out, walk around. We live on the summer camp where Ryan grew up. And his parents are a 30-second walk from our front door. So Jesse gets to see his paternal grandparents every single day,
Awesome.
certainly during the pandemic, but before that as well, they got to hang out every day. So he's got a strong foundation, and so do we, quite frankly. So we'll spend the morning with Jess, and then take him to see his grandparents, and then we have grown-up time.
Yeah.
For 3 to 4 hours, which means that I get to cram all of the work I need to do as a performer, producer, social media manager, all of the jobs that independent musicians have, posting stuff on social media to make sure my people have something pretty to look at, talking about spell work with folks, scheduling interviews.
Yeah.
All of that has to happen between like 1 p.m. and 4:30 p.m. in the afternoon. So my schedule has gotten really smooshed since I unlocked all the mom achievements. And Brian feels this way too, I know. And I remain grateful that I had time management drummed into me at a tender age, because it's hard. It's not as hard as it would be without that sort of grounding, that sort of foundation of knowing, okay, I can choose one thing, maybe 2 things that I can get done today, and then I have to not beat myself up if I only get half of that done, because tomorrow's coming. It's going to be fine. The baby is alive. You're alive. You got the thing done. That's what we call a win.
Absolutely.
Jesse comes home and we play and we run around and have dinner with him, and he usually, unless we have the battle of bedtime, which happens sometimes, then he gets a bath, we brush teeth, we go upstairs, we snuggle, and he passes out, and I tuck him in. And today, the next thing that happened was I ran downstairs and I set up cameras, and here we are with some witches and some wine. Time for another toast.
Well, thank you for being here.
Well, isn't it amazing that such a little person dictates your whole schedule?
Yes.
Yeah, you have to fit 2 full-time jobs into 1 part-time schedule.
Yes.
Absolutely well described there.
Yes, they do. I've heard, it's not our schedule anymore. It's not about us. It's about them. And let me tell you, being us here and Danielle over there, we have many children and teenagers, or almost teenagers, and it never stops. We still schedule around them.
Yep.
The joke was that once you have children,
cooperate.
Yeah.
The joke was that once you have children,
it's
don't
like
have
a roommate who can't necessarily do all the things that you can do. You find the path that works for all of you.
Yeah.
And even with the support we have, this is hard. So my heart goes out to everyone who is raising little persons right now.
Yeah.
Who has no support and nobody on tap to give them a break for a little while. And we'll even talk about people trying to force schools to open when the teachers don't have enough support and it isn't safe to do so.
Yeah.
And anyone raising a child with different needs, and it's such a huge mess, and all of this is hard. All of it is hard. Even if you do have support, this is hard. So I have huge perspective and massive empathy for anybody in any stage of parenting at this point that I wouldn't have otherwise. And I know that is a gift. And I feel like I haven't given, people talk about how when you become a parent, you have to give up so many things and say goodbye to your life. But there's an expansion that happens. There really is, and some of that is my ocean of privilege talking, and I acknowledge this. But there is an expansion, and what I have been saying a lot lately is, Cabernario is not going to throw you into that cauldron of transformation with the intent of turning you into something smaller than you were when you got there in the first place. And that has been helping me get through my own postpartum journey, which takes a long time, but I won't get too deep into that tonight because I know that's not everybody's cup of tea or cup of wine, as the case may be. But that thought that the transformation doesn't end when you bring the baby home, and Karen is not throwing you into this to make you into something less than you used to be. Those are the things that have been keeping me sort of on an even keel with all of this, with a lot of this, at least.
Parenting, it teaches you two things: humility and patience.
Yes. And when,
yes, sir.
Yeah. And when people say, like you said, when people say, oh, your life, you're not going to have a life anymore. No, you just have a different kind of life.
Yeah.
You have different perspective. You have different
life
priorities, but it's still great. It's a great life. It's just different than before. Yeah. And there's nothing, those that say that don't have kids, I think. Those that say, oh my God, you're giving up your whole life, you're having children. It's like, yeah, there are things you do give up, but you gain in place of what you've given up, I think.
And each one is their own path.
Or they had a really shit time. And I have so much compassion, like I said already, probably too many times. You never know what somebody's going through. You never know their whole story unless you take the time to listen to it. There's all sorts of perspectives for all sorts of things. And so I know that is certainly, that's got to be valid for some people, or else nobody would ever say it. That you have to, that you give up your whole life when you have kids. And some people choose to give up a lot more. Some people choose the sacrifice. You can have a balance between the sacrifice and the expansion. I hope that's what I want for everyone.
Yeah.
Well, if you're working your craft, you're always learning and growing.
Yeah. And we evolve. So it's just evolving into something. I think it's evolving into something better. I want to point out something that
please let us evolve into something better, please.
I want to point out,
all in that cauldron right now.
Yes, we are right now, especially. I want to point out something that I really admire about you is that you have such compassion in your thought process and in your music. And I just want to ask, because with everything that's going on now, without getting too in depth about what's going on, because we know what's going on, okay? But how do you hold on to that compassion? Is that hard for you to see the world? Because I feel like you see things different than maybe some of us that get a little pessimistic. You seem very optimistic. Is that hard to hold on to during this time?
Yes.
Yeah.
I far less compassion for people who in my immediate vicinity are being shitty about mask mandates and etc. Yes, there are folks who have valid medical important reasons for not wearing masks, and those are not the people who upset me. Those are the people who are doing what they need to do to survive, just like the rest of us. Exactly. I'm talking about certain parts of this country that might vote quite red, that are, right outside my front door, that really don't get it and do not understand that the way that we get through this is taking care of each other and doing what little is available to us to take care of each other. And if you're in the headspace where, I'm going to die anyway, so I might as well use the time that I have left if this thing is all going to kill us, there's a place for that too, but don't come and breathe on me, okay? Again, I will unlock the mom voice. I have this in my arsenal now. Goodness, we're incredibly well set up here. We're on several acres of land. There are trees. I have a cute little boy to chase around all day. My son, don't do dirty lines out there. Just behave yourselves. I'm talking about my toddler. He's got bouncy curls. He is as healthy as he could be. There are many joys here in the space where I am. It doesn't mean that my heart doesn't ache every single day. And my mission for a very long time has been to hopefully be part of the hope that people have left. And years before any of us really thought that 2020 was going to be what 2020 has been, I had a really impactful conversation with a friend of mine in Washington State. And we decided that when the shit really hit the fan, which here we are, the people who had hope left were going to be the people who have community that they can count on. Mm-hmm. And a lot of us are finding out just how strong our communities are, just how strong our wider community is right now, because all we have as an option for connecting to that community is these screens that we're looking at day in, day out, however many meetings we have scheduled that have to be online now, however many festivals have moved online. Thank goodness festivals were willing to be flexible and try to move online so that people could still connect in what little ways we've got. Thank goodness for the tech that is available to us. The people who have community they can count on are going to be the ones who have hope left. And so after that conversation that I had with them now, I decided that what I wanted to be was part of the hope that people have left. And so if I'm going to be part of the hope that other people have, then I have to have hope. Yeah. So that runs through the center of me, certainly. That is the column that runs through my entire being. Is that there's got to be some hope left in me if I'm going to help other people still have a little bit of hope for themselves.
Well, one of my biggest fears is us losing our humanity, humanity, because it can get really close to that happening. So that's why I asked this question is like, how do you hold on to it? Because there are mornings when we all, I know, wake up and we're just like, like, what do I have to look forward to?
And with all the fear and everything, it's always wondering, when do we become Lord of the Flies? When do we go to the base animal instinct of survival, and you don't agree with me, then I'm against you, and I need to have you removed.
Yeah, we need to get rid of the us versus them. I see Danielle has a question.
Well, that's what I was going to say, because right now it's hard. I have a dystopia that I'd love to read, and I can't read it because it hits too close to home.
Yeah.
So it's that, when are we getting the Lord of the Flies?
So many shows that we are not even looking at right now for the same reasons. Yes, I feel you.
Mm-hmm. It's hard. And so thank you for sharing that you do have that little bit of hope left, or that hope left. And also these connections that we are making through technology. Actually, me and Danielle were just talking last night about how sometimes it's hard if you're a people person. Like, Suj, you were saying you're nomadic, you like to travel, you like to go. Well, I'm a social butterfly, and I like to be able to touch people, hug people, touch people.
That's a hard one.
And it's been really hard to not be able to do that. But you gotta see the bright side of things, or see that light, and think, well, gosh, I'm making so many wonderful connections with people all across the world that I never would have had an opportunity to make connections with beforehand. So you do got to see the good in this. And so I love it. Yeah, it's great. I want to talk about your music, because your music is awesome. Of course. Danielle, do you have any? Danielle here. We brought her in because she's a huge fan of yours. I mean, we're all huge fans, but she's kind of a fangirl. So do you have anything you want to ask her? Do you have anything you want to ask her about any songs or anything, or am I putting?
Well, of course, I draw a blank on the song. What was the one we were listening to last night? The
11 midnight.
Yeah, it's the 11:57, right?
Yeah.
Did you think that? Now I got to think of how I'm going to phrase this. If you think about the impact that you thought of when you wrote this song and how it applies and is still relevant today, did you see that in any way, shape, or form, or was that a complete surprise?
Well, I had no idea that it was going to be as hard to sing this particular year, and as hard to, even bring up, because none of us, well, sympathy for anybody that did see this coming. I sure didn't. We sort of were thinking it was going to get bad. We didn't think it was going to be 2020 bad, and I think that's going to be one of the things we take out of this whole experience is it bad or is it 2020 bad? So I wrote the song in 2014. I want to say I wrote the song in 2014. It was several years ago, and had not had any plans to record it and do the full arrangement that you hear on the original Green Album version and on the remixes that are released this January 2020. Until Danny Mulligan, who is the band dad behind Tuatha, which if y'all don't know their work, please look them up. And I'm talking to everybody watching this right now. They are a mighty, mighty pagan band based in Gatlinburg, Tennessee. They are my family. I have crossed international lines with these people. And I mean that geographically, not in a naughty way. I trust them to keep me safe traveling out of the country because they did. They're wonderful people, and Danny wanted to put a witchy compilation album together and choose a world environmental charity to donate the proceeds to. So we give $5 of every sale to this thing to the Rainforest Trust, and we still do with whatever sales come through digitally or physically. And you got 15 pagan bands taking this CD with them on the road. That's a lot of money going back to the Rainforest Trust. Buy land so that it cannot be developed in South America and other places across the globe, as I understand it. Anyhow, and because this was a song about climate change and about the nightmares that I have had as an elder millennial who was a tiny thing during the nuclear war, nuclear annihilation, that all went into that song. All of those things went into that song. And it was too scary for me to sing by myself on stage for a while because it brought all that stuff. But now I feel like it's important that song exists because it's so cathartic for a few of us. I've gotten a lot of really good feedback from people who heard that song just when they needed it.
Yeah. Well, it is, and go ahead. Oh, we lost sound.
I'm still here. We're still here. No.
There you go.
Hello.
It's choppy sound, so we apologize.
No sound.
Okay. We got you. We got you.
Oh. Yay.
So, are you putting out anything new? Are you making anything new right now?
Constantly. If y'all keep an eye on music.sjtucker.com, which is my Bandcamp site, I've released a whole crop of singles there since the pandemic began. March, April, May, June, July, there have been new songs throughout. And I've been putting them up one at a time, the ones that I think are the most needed, getting them recorded and mixed and mastered as fast as I can. Fortunately, I have home studio enough that I can pull that off, and mastering engineers that I can send stuff to who I trust and have a very quick turnaround. And we're all just together with each other. And I'm not the only one. So many people are putting music right now, especially the indies, especially the people that are doing like weekly streams, which I don't have internet or energy enough for, chasing a toddler around every single day. But so many of my colleagues have been doing almost constant concerts, and I've been trying to balance out online shows with recording and making sure that my content output is consistent. All we have, like I said earlier, all we have are our screens right now. All we have to connect with each other are our screens and our devices. So thanks to the kick in the pants from Bandcamp, who have been taking one day per month during the pandemic to give extra money to the people who sell their music on there, like me, I've been galvanized to get new songs out, and at the same time also working on narration projects and collaboration stuff, which Ryan and I have a collaboration that we will be working on in the near future, which will be unlike anything I have ever done. He will be ranting about magic, and I will be writing about music to go under it. And then working on the next full-length witchy record that I hope to release, that parts of which have been under production for almost 10 years now. So when I finally get this beast done, she's going to be beautiful, and she's going to be bright and involved and have a lot of tasty layers.
Well, we can't wait to see it.
I can't wait to hear that. That's going to be awesome. And
what sneak peeks, come to Patreon. SJ Tucker Music on Patreon. There's me. And new things for my people every single month.
So, are you writing any music? Are you writing any music that is influenced by what's going on?
Yes.
Yeah.
The last single that I released, which we put the link in the description if you want to. It's called Wild Times, and it is what fell out of me in response to Laura Tempest Zakroff's wonderful Pathos blog post description of the witch's 7-day candle magic spell for magical resistance, which she tied in with everything that is going on, but most especially the protests in response to the murder of George Floyd and so many other. He really, really did not deserve to go out at the hands of police brutality. People who are putting their bodies on the line, people that are putting their magical practice on the line. All of that came together, and that's the most recent song that I released. And it was so fast, y'all. I wrote it a week and a half before I released the song. And it's part of the Song a Week challenge that I'm still part of, that I've been participating in since 2015 with a group called Songwriting. And now I've branched out into a different songwriting group with a very good friend. And you take a random prompt and you write a song about it before the end of the week. And not for the faint of heart, but keep in mind that as long as you turn something in, it doesn't have to be particularly good. But I've had a pretty good crop so far of things that I actually am proud of and want to release to the world from that experience. It's terrifying, right? To think that you can keep up with that much accountability and a weekly deadline. And before I had a toddler, I was doing this. And after I had a toddler, I was like, I have to keep doing this or I'm going to miss it too much. And I was already pretty much a wind-up toy as far as songwriting is concerned. Ideas come fast and they come often. And that's been true since I started writing songs as a teenager. And now to have the experience of writing them to a specific phrase or a specific idea, that was a new experience. That instead of just letting things come, to start with the germ of it and see what would grow, and water it and feed it and see what would grow. So Wild Times came out of that. I wrote a song called Chalk on the Sidewalk, which is also a new single that's come out in the last little bit in the past month. That was inspired by Eric Garner's death, and a whole bunch of other crap in the news that Black folks have had to deal with at the hands of police and in the hands of society in general. And so I am quite firmly Black Lives Matter if it wasn't obvious up to this point. I am hashtag witches against white supremacy.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to be shy about it. We're drinking wine, not holding anything back tonight, you know. And Talk on the Sidewalk is more about hoping that we will end up with a world that our kids that is worthy of our kids, that it will be safe for all of them to play outside, to play apart, to play together, no matter what they look like, no matter who their people are, no matter how or where they grew up or what they come from.
Yeah.
And that's just two. Those are the two newest babies, and then one previously is called Star Maps, which sounds like it's about being stuck in quarantine and missing your people, but I swear I wrote it 3 years ago.
Oh, wow.
I didn't really have the push to release it until now, but it was just perfect. It's about keeping in touch with people however you possibly can, even if you can't see each other, you're looking at the same stars. Or I hope you're looking at the same stars. If you're not looking at the same stars, then tell us how to find you so that we can come visit the planet that is not wrecked by coronavirus right now. We promise we will wash our hands before we come. So short answer, yes. Long answer, all of that.
All of that.
Bubbling.
I like the long answers. That's what we want. Do you have anything you want to add or say?
You were commenting about the children and what they're going to be. Have you thought about writing any children's songs now that you're a mom? Any witchy children's songs?
Oh, brother, I write children's songs every day. I write children's songs every day. I'm out taking that little boy for a walk. We see some dragonflies. I write a song. And the way that one happened was that I just spat out a little verse, as people say, and he said, "Do again." So I wrote another verse. And I stopped saying, and he said, "Do again." And if I quit, he would get frustrated with me. So before I know what's happening, I have 6 verses. Thank goodness he likes to hear me sing.
Yeah.
He's got a whole set of lullabies that are just a part of the nightly routine now.
Yeah.
I wrote one in the early days when I was really kind of out of my mind with fatigue, because that's what happens when you have someone in your house who's just a couple months old.
Yeah.
So there's a thing up right now that I call the Small Stuff mixtape that's on that same Bandcamp site, and most of the folks who know my work already know that all the stuff of mine that's gone through digital distribution is there on Spotify and iTunes and all of the rest. But it's a shorter process to release things on Bandcamp and SoundCloud. So the brand new things are going to be there. And then as soon as I get through the process of getting those delivered unto the great digital distribution gods, and they come through as well. It just takes a little bit longer because I am but one witchy woman running on this stuff, and there's a whole lot running in the background, and now I have to also change diapers.
Yeah.
So thank you all for your patience. We don't have many choices when you fly. 50 Hard Airlines is sure glad to have you. We hope you'll stick around.
You have such an enchant.
Should I give a rendition of the most recent children's song, which is not actually for Jesse, but it kind of is, but it's inspired by something that he did?
Yeah.
For Ruby. She's not even our dog. She is our cousin dog. She's our cousin dog, but she loves Ryan. So she's all time hanging around in hopes that he will throw the stick. No one else, when they throw the stick, is as interesting as Ryan.
I've got the stick magic. I
you do have the stick. Do you have your stick nearby that you could show it off? Again, dirty minds.
I was going to say.
You have one.
I'm like, this is. We can't show that stick, but yeah.
Well, so what had happened was, Ruby the boxer, who lives with Ryan's aunt and uncle, who are another 30-minute walk in a different direction from his parents here on the property that used to be the summer camp where we live, is very tolerant. Ruby the boxer is very tolerant with the little children. Bless her heart. Yeah. She's also very big and strong, but doesn't know that she's big and strong. So she'll whop you with her butt or with her paws at some point, and she won't even necessarily mean to, or she'll body check you. You can't do that with someone who only weighs 24 pounds.
Yeah.
Which is where Jesse's at right now. And we've been trying to work with her to get her to understand that she is much bigger and stronger than he is. But he got her so good. And here is the synopsis in spontaneous song form. I was helpless to write this. Hopefully this will not be the thing that goes viral, but if it is, so be it. Don't stick your finger up the dog's butthole, the dog's butthole, the dog's butthole. Jesse stuck his finger up the dog's butthole, so now we go wash our hands. Thank you. Thank you.
You heard it here
I am
first.
a serious songwriter, yes.
You heard it here first.
That one's not even on
Fine.
yeah. You got a world premiere tonight.
I mean,
Because
too.
that dog didn't turn her back on that child anymore.
No. Look on your little face.
Never, I did say never, ever in a million years, never in a million years did I think that I would be talking to S.J. Tucker on Skype and her singing about a kid sticking the finger up the dog's butthole. This is unbelievable.
This is Witches and Wine.
You did ask me if I would perform the song tonight, Lola. Just remember, the can of worms, my darling. Here's it.
I know you're on the right show.
This is the lovely topics that we talk about here on Witches and Wine.
Yes.
We have a vast arsenal of topics that we discuss. Wine and buttholes.
I didn't know.
Poor puppy. Poor puppy.
This is amazing. I love it. I think that I think that the quarantine also just makes you gotta laugh, you gotta sing funny things. It's what keeps us sane.
Yes.
We always remember the reverence, but it's
Well,
always earth.
I would love to share with you another unreleased song that Ryan doesn't know that he's going to sing with me, but he's really good at it.
What?
This is another one that's in the works. This one will be on the Witchy album when it comes. And I think everyone participating in this with us will appreciate it too. This is for all my witches. Just remember, you have that fire, even if you can't do all the things with it that you would like to do out in the world right now. Autumn leaves are dancing round.
Ain't no fire like mine.
Frost is gonna come and harden the ground.
Ain't no fire like mine.
The moon is rising at the riverside.
Ain't no fire like mine.
Stars on the water gonna ripple and shine.
Ain't no fire like mine.
We live by love, by rule and rhyme.
Ain't no fire like mine.
The path comes clear, one candle at a time.
Ain't no fire like mine.
Dance on the riverbank, sing up the sky.
Ain't no fire like mine.
Raise your power and let it fly.
Ain't no fire like mine.
Sing,
Ain't no fire like mine. Ain't no fire like mine. Ain't no fire like mine. Ain't no fire like mine.
blood and bone and life and death.
Ain't no fire like mine.
Heart and mind and flesh and breath.
Ain't no fire like mine.
Bring your blade or none at all.
Ain't no fire like mine.
Magic comes to those who call.
Ain't no fire like mine.
by stone and storm and word and will.
Ain't no fire like mine.
By fang and feather, fur and claw.
Ain't no fire like mine.
Dance on the riverbank, sing up the sky.
Ain't no fire like mine.
Raise the power and let it fly. Ain't no fire like mine.
Sing, ain't no fire like mine. Ain't no fire like mine. Ain't no fire like mine. Ain't no fire like mine.
Woohoo!
Thank you, guys.
Hello. That was loved that. It's funny.
Thank you. Ryan's on the recording.
We have a delay, so your video is still showing you guys singing, but it stopped. So there's a little delay, but we still can hear you, and it sounded great. Thank you so much. I want to talk real quick about what kind of, okay, so you're witchy. What kind of magic do you practice? Is it all through your songwriting, or do you do little spells and stuff that you might want to tell us about, or is it all through your music?
The stuff that gets out into the world, I think, finds its way through the music more than anything else for me. Ryan's is different. We work together. We work apart. As far as little bits of daily practice go, I draw a lot of sigils in my cup of tea in the morning. And more this year than other years. There's a lot of protection magic going on every single day, and that comes through. It comes through that I do it when I stick my spoonful of honey into my tea. So the vehicle of the honey, the connection to the earth, the connection to the tea, comes into me, goes out of me wherever it needs to go. The magical act of just drawing the stuff in there. If that resonates with you, awesome. If you think that, it's none of my business.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times lately, I've been doing some work that is on the face of it not quite as seated in magical practice. I narrated and produced last year an audiobook about it was a true crime book about a young woman who grew up in the Arkansas Delta where I was raised and died just on the outside edge of the Great Depression. And it doesn't seem like that was tied in with my magical practice because it was essentially an Arkansas history book. But I had my altar right next to where I was recording the whole time, and that sucker was fired up. I had my candles lit. You know, I had a jar of black salt sitting on top of my USB interface so that nothing glitched out if I got a little too magical when I was up in there. And when Ryan narrates the book, it's entirely different. I have to really, really crank up the protection magic from my gear because he gets a little spicy.
Yeah.
but the honey and the spice go, so it's good. Did I answer the question right?
Yeah, no, it's not.
You don't have to. Bring it up.
I'll talk about mine. The thing that I've been doing recently, it's been going for a couple of years, but I've ramped it up recently. I've been advocating magical activism and action. There's this thing. It's called Rule 303. If you have the means, then you have the responsibility to do whatever you can for as long as you can to fix whatever is going on. So I've been advocating for people to, and I do this myself. We have magic. We can do things. We can boost luck. We can twist fate a little bit. We can maybe hinder those that need hindering. And I think as practitioners, with the world being as nuts as it is, we have a responsibility to, within our community, do what we can to help, to try to make the world a little bit better. Maybe if people need a little luck, give them some luck. If somewhere needs some protection, give them some protection. Or if there are bad people, maybe they don't need to be quite so lucky. That sort of thing. And I figure if all of us were to just kind of take a little responsibility and do what we can do in the world under our eye to try to make it better, then maybe things will get better. Yeah. Maybe we can see a brighter day out of all this. And I know that that's a little bit of a controversial stance in some paradigms, but I'm like, man, I have magic. I have a responsibility to use it to make the world a better place.
Yeah.
So that's what I do.
We can always use more good.
Yeah, I think it's nice to know that there are people out there, because sometimes it gets so, sometimes you feel it's so bleak, but when you think about our community, our community that spreads out all over the world, it's nice to hear that when people are doing things like that, because if we do put our magic together and work together, you can create, and it sounds hokey and hippie, but I'm a hippie witch. You can create world peace. And I think people have that ability in them, even if they're non-witchy. I think people can focus their energy on just putting out positive vibes. You don't even have to be pagan, or you can just be a person that's like,
willfully do good, and that'll echo.
Yeah, reality just slightly.
Good juju.
You feel a little better in the room.
Yeah.
I'm just say this once. I'm only going to say this once. The mom voice is going to come out just for a minute. Don't hex the fucking moon. If you're going to hex something.
Thank you.
I don't know. Maybe hex white supremacy if you're going to go big. Come on. Come the fuck on.
We'll see. And we talked about our last episode.
I'm done.
No, you're good. You're good. You go ahead.
I think we talked about this with our last guest on our last episode. I was most offended at the audacity of thinking you fucking think you're strong enough to hex the fucking moon.
Yeah, it's like, what? Oh, silly.
Any way you cut from a magic theory perspective, that's just dumb.
I know. But I guess they'll learn. They'll learn.
Hopefully this is learning time.
They'll learn.
That was a conversation that went on in my house because I have teens, so they were like, "Yeah, that's not smart." Like, no, they'll figure out what's coming to them. They'll figure it out.
They'll figure it out. Hopefully, we all were young, naive witches, teenagers, whatever, at one point, and I'm sure we did stupid things and said stupid things, but
not hex the moon stupid.
But not hex the moon stupid. I'm sorry, but anyways, you're right. So
I mean, I have done some stupid magical things. I mean, like really, but yeah, I didn't go hex the moon.
You are the heavy as far as hucking spells on a daily basis.
I am.
He really is. For years. But you mentioned on Twitter not long ago, speaking of the internet, the trouble that we can get into. You said, I have some stupid things that y'all can try if you want to. Try some stupid things magically that don't involve hexing the moon. Just, come to me. I'll share.
Yeah, there's other stupid things you could do that maybe not try to hex the thing that gives us our power. I don't know. It's like
the moon is just going to reflect it back. I mean, that's specialty. It's just going to be like,
yeah,
okay.
Put a giant mirror. That's going to go well. I said I wasn't going to bring it up because we're still talking about it. Sorry.
Well, last week it was hexing the moon. This week it's dream demon sex.
Yeah, what the? Oh, God, I don't even want to get into that. I saw that online. I don't even know. I don't even know what that is. I'm afraid to look into it.
You know what? I'm blaming chili peppers. Red Hot Chili Peppers. I'm blaming them. Blood sugar sex magic. It was a ritual, and it is finally manifested. And
It has.
It is demon seed. Yes. It's their fault. I'm blaming them.
It's a great album, though. It was one of my.
It's a really good album.
It's one of my favorite albums from that time. I love it. But you're right. Let's play Red Hot Chili
On
Peppers.
the show right now. Right here.
It's them in Metalocalypse with the Awakening.
Oh, me.
Awaken. Well, we're coming up to the top of the hour. So, is there anything you'd like to say to our viewers? We have 230 subscribers. We're big. No, but
Yeah.
is there anything you'd like to say to our fellow witches and how to get through this time? Any words of wisdom from the great mind of Suge? Is there anything just to pass on about it? Just what would you say if there was someone that's like, I'm having a hard time getting through this with my magic, I don't know what to do, blah blah blah. What would you say to them? Don't hex them.
Don't be afraid to take a break.
Oh yeah.
Don't. First and foremost, sunscreen, hard soul shoes, plenty of water. Don't X the moon. And also, don't be afraid to take a break. Don't be afraid of your magic. Don't be afraid to use it. Wash your hands. Don't lose heart. Remember that you're not alone. We're all going through this shift. Even if you can't hang out with the people that are going through this together with you, I promise there's someone else who's having a day just as dark as yours. One or another, it's going to be all right. I can't tell you what it looks like. I can't tell you what it will be like or when it will happen. One way or another, we're going to come out of this. And I would love for us to come out of it together as something brighter than what we were before and not as something less. And Lordy, there's work to do, but we are just the witches to do it.
Yep. Well, that is beautiful. Thank you so much, SJ. This has been, and Ryan, we made it happen. There for a while, we were having difficulties getting this going because of technology and all that stuff. But we got it going, so it was meant to be. Horrible internet in Arkansas.
Nevertheless, we persisted.
Yes. Well, thank you so much. This has been wonderful. We so appreciate you doing this on our show. We're just a small little show that we just have a lot of fun, and we hope that our viewers enjoy it and get the word out. Subscribe to us. And before we go, I'd like to let everyone know if you want to get a hold of us, our coven, if you want to be a guest on our show, if you have questions for us, you can email us at
crossroadscoven@gmail.com.
What was that again?
That was crossroadscoven@gmail.com.
Thank you so much. And remember, everyone, please be kind to one another. Always walk with the goddess. And until next time, blessed be. Good night, everybody. Have a wonderful night. And I got to remember how to stop recording on this. And there we go. Bye-bye.
See you next time.